Hi guys, welcome to episode 3 of Second Last Supper, and in this week's episode we have a very special guest with us. Her name is Anupama Chopra. She is the founder of Film Campanion and the festival director of Mumbai Film Festival. She's a writer, film critic and a journalist. So I spoke to Anupama about her journey as the founder of Film Campanion, and she gave us a lot of insights into the world of an entrepreneur. So let's jump right inside the conversation I had with Anupama Chopra for the episode 3 of Second Last Supper. Hi Anupama, how are you doing?
I'm good, Vaibhav. How are you?
Thank you so much for doing this. It's a very, very huge privilege for us to have you on the show.
Not at all. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah. So, Anupama, like I was saying, for this particular podcast, I mostly want to ask you things which are related to you as a founder of Film Companion, because मैंने जितना देखा है, like people don't talk enough about it because it's mind blowing how you made Film Companion to such a big thing in like only 6 years, I suppose.
Thank you. Yes, it's 6 years. 6 years.
Yeah. So.
अभी जुलाई में 6 साल हुए.
Right. So there's this another founder. I am a big fan of Maria Popova, who runs Brain Pickings.
Of course.
Yeah. So what Maria Popova does is she writes about her learnings as a founder every year. So she started off in 2014, where she wrote 7 things she learned in 7 years. Now each year she adds one more learning she has had in that year. So now in 2019, until 2019, she has written about 13 learnings she has had in 13 years. So one of the points really caught my attention, and where she wrote about seek out what magnifies your spirit, and who are the people, ideas and book that magnify your spirit. Find them, hold on to them and visit them often. I want to know who are those people for you, or the ideas or the places that magnify your spirit.
Wow, such a lovely idea to magnify your spirit. This is not necessarily with relation to Film Companion, but in terms of places, I think Bhutan for me is a place that really magnifies my spirit. It really gives me a sense of serenity that I have never felt in too many places around the world. So whenever we possibly can, Vinod and I, we run to Bhutan. Sadly, Bhutan is closed right now. Otherwise, I think at least for the lockdown, I would have just moved and worked out of Bhutan. So that's definitely a place. For people who magnify my spirit, I think we're not very social people. So we're not, people who go out a lot or party a lot. But there's just a very small set of friends and family, very, very tight-knit family. And all of them magnify my spirit. But I would say more than anyone else, my husband and my children magnify my spirit. Now my kids are much older. They're 19 and 21. And, they're my closest friends. My husband is my best friend. So I think in terms of people, it would be the 3 of them.
How nice. So, अब मैं धीरे-धीरे अब इसमें जो the founding side of Film Companion, I want to go inside that. Now, like how Maria Popova has those certain learnings, do you also want to share any of your learnings from 6 years of Film Companion? Not 6 learnings, any learning which is coming to the top of your head.
Honestly, the truth is that I knew nothing. Literally nothing. I did not know how to upload a video on YouTube. I did not know. The only thing what I knew personally was how to be an anchor, because I had been an anchor for about 10 years. I started with NDTV, I don't know, about roughly 8-10 years before we started Film Companion. And Smriti Kiran, who's the artistic director at the Mumbai Film Festival, was my producer. She was the first person who trained me to be in front of a television camera. And she was my producer on the front row. And all that the two of us knew was I knew how to be an anchor. She knew how to produce. And we did not know anything about the digital world. We just, it was actually an idea that came from my husband. He said that, look, why do you think reviews should be appointment viewing? It's silly. They should be available when people want to go to a movie and they just want to say कि यार इसने क्या बोला इस picture के बारे में, and they should be able to look it up. They shouldn't have to wait for 8:30 on a Saturday night to listen to a review. And we just began. That was literally the thought with which Film Companion began. So my learning, honestly, would be that if I had known better at that time, Smriti and I would have sat down and made a plan. We might have made a business plan. We might have made a mission statement. And this was 2014, the same year that we got involved with Mommy. So literally that whole year, Film Companion was just like a completely side activity that was somehow happening. And at one point we even talked about, let's just shut it down because like, who cares? Because all we wanted to do was keep the festival alive, and that itself was such a massive task because we were, 70 odd lakhs in debt. There were no sponsors. There was no team. The learning for me that I would want to tell people is that have more, we had a lot of passion, but we didn't have a plan. Okay. So I would say that, a passion with a plan is ideal situation. But even if you only have passion, I think you just have to be bullheaded and I've gone to so many offices with a notebook and a pen and just said, teach me about being a digital creator. I don't know anything, So I've sat in offices and I've just said, please help me. Tell me what you know. I don't. I'm a generation that's too old for digital. I didn't grow up with social media. Twitter was the first digital platform I got on. But it doesn't come naturally. It took me years to get comfortable with Instagram because I'm not sure what can be shared, what is personal, what is public. So I think if you have a plan, that's fantastic. Have a vision for what you want to do. And of course, it'll change. If there's one thing the pandemic has taught us, it is that nothing goes to plan.
Absolutely.
So, but I think thoda clarity, if you have, it's very useful.
Okay. So another question that I had was when you are starting off, जैसे Film Companion भी start हो रहा था, so the releases that you have, when was the first time आपने कोई video approve किया without even watching it? Because now so many things are happening out there. Because after a point of time, you cannot look at every video or an article which is going there.
You can't. But I'll tell you, I've been really fortunate enough to work. There's very few videos, even in the beginning, that I looked at because Smriti and I had such a trust by then. We had already worked together for so many years that I knew that she would only put out things that she knows that I would 100% be comfortable with. So honestly, I don't even remember in the first few months really approving of videos. I think maybe that first, I think we started with a review of Kick, Salman's movie. Maybe I looked at that. I don't even remember. But more often than not, I didn't.
So what are the numbers one should celebrate or one should not celebrate? Because अब जैसे हमारे 30,000 subscribers है, but I'm tempted to celebrate right now. But should I celebrate at 1 lakh? Because you are also setting a whole ecosystem for the people who are working with you. कौन से numbers celebrate करने चाहिए या नहीं करने चाहिए?
Hey, don't wait for a lakh, yeah. Celebrate 50,000. That's a good number. Okay. See, Vaibhav, I think it's very hard to build something from scratch. Okay, you're doing it. The people who work with you are doing it, and I just think that there's never a downside to saying to each other, man, we did good and let's keep going. उसमें हर्जी क्या है यार? और अगर ऐसे celebrate करना है now तो अब किसी को hug भी नहीं दे सकते, but just a good cheer that costs nothing. You should celebrate.
And another thing that I ask all my guests is, what was that one event जिसको मैं बुलाता हूँ, the BC to AD event of your life, when the calendar started again, which changed everything in your life? So जब calendar restart हुआ, the BC to AD event of your life.
See, the first, I think BC to AD would be when I went from being a text journalist to a television journalist. when I went from being a print person to a TV anchor. I had never done it before. And I just honestly don't even know what gave Dr. Prannoy Roy and Radhika Roy the confidence that I could do this. But they called me out of the blue and said that, do you want to come and do a show for us? And I was like, are you serious? I've never been on a TV. I don't know. I don't know how to read auto cue. So Smriti again is the person who taught me how to read an auto cue. And they were like, no, you can do this. We know you can do this. And it's amazing the kind of faith they had in me. So that altered my life in a massive way. Because it's a very different muscle that you use for television, that you use for on camera. And then the other two events would be, I think, getting involved with Mami, because that really put me into situations that I had never, ever dreamt of, trying to raise money, sitting at the BMC office and trying to get permissions for opening ceremonies and being on the verge of tears because one was going to get cancelled, and thinking how did I get to this point? I'm a film critic. Why am I sitting in the BMC office trying to get permissions for this damn festival that I had nothing to do with 4 years ago? But that taught me a lot. That really pushed me into places I'd never been in. That really pushed me out of my comfort zone. And it really taught me the value of doing something for something bigger than yourself. I am a honorary, or whatever, what do you call it? What worker? I'm a volunteer at the film festival. Okay. This is not for me about money. It's not about furthering a career. It is genuinely about giving back to an industry that I love. It's about giving back to cinema. And so it really taught me to really work hard for something that's not for you. That was very valuable. And then, of course, starting Film Campanion, which taught me how to be an entrepreneur, how to keep a team motivated and together, and how to learn from other people, because I'm working with such amazing people. And genuinely, I feel like I have to raise my bar every day to match them.
So another thing that I wanted to know, because the people I know जो आपके बारे में तो बताते, Rahul Desai keeps telling me how focused you are on productivity. आप productivity को लेके you are so particular. Yesterday also you had posted about the James Clear book, The Power of Habit. We can get into book recommendations from here, but how to be more productive? अगर इसके कोई productivity hacks है, what are the things that you have cracked for yourself?
The first thing that really helped me, which again was purely by instinct, I didn't realize it would do as much for me as it did, was exercising every day. Somehow I got fixated on this notion that if I just get that done, because I understood very early in the lockdown that there is too much we can't control. And in that scenario, all it does is create anxiety. You have to control the things you can. And I could control that. I could control exercising. And so that really helped me, and just having the same routine. So I would still I'm a very early riser. I wake up at back then I was at 6 o'clock. I'm at 5:30 now. So my husband was like, कि पूरी दुनिया बंद हो चुकी है. Why are you waking up at 6 o'clock? He was like, what is wrong with you? And I said, if I let this go, then everything goes. You have to still say to yourself that I have purpose. I have things I have to get done. And honestly, I do. I mean, I work from 6 in the morning till 7 in the evening, and I don't even know where the day goes because there's so much to be done.
The Power of Habits, अगर आपने कोई चीज सीखी हो तो आप उसके बारे में बताइए, because I was also reading it very recently and I loved the book. So what were your takeaways from that book, the James Clear one?
The James Clear one, the one thing that I really took away was this idea of not having massive goals. So one of the things that I really wanted to work on was reading more. I used to be a big reader, and I lost the habit somewhere when my kids were born. It was just too busy. There was too much to be done. And I just lost the focus and the interest in books, which I think is very, very problematic for somebody who wants to write and look at cinema. You need to be inputting good stuff as well. And what I loved in that book is the fact that he says, read 1 page a day. इतना तो सब कर सकते ना.
Right.
He says, he's like, just एक page तुम पढ़ लो, बस. So I literally went to like, okay, I'm going to read 5 pages a day, and that just helps you build on something, and it makes you feel good. And I can see myself getting through a book every 2 to 3 weeks, which is just, it just feels so good. It's fantastic.
Yeah. What are the other books in the non-fiction genre that you have been like reading, or some recommendations you would have in the non-fiction genre?
The other one that I recently read was a book on R.D. Burman, so I've been, these are all books I bought and I've been meaning to read. So a book on Rishikesh Mukherjee written by Jay Arjun Singh, the R.D. Burman book, which won a national award. It's just, these are all people I wanted to know more about, so and so those are two, and I really love I really love books about productivity and hacks, and so the James Clear one was fantastic. Then I read this other book that I think everyone should read, it's called Deep Work, and it's basically about not so all my life, and especially if you're a working mom, you become a multitasker because you don't have the luxury of single tasking. So you are handling kids and working and sending text messages, and you're doing all that. And that's how my brain got wired. But what this book says is that you need to stop multitasking. It's actually really bad for your head because you're just, you're not firing correctly. And what you need to do is put the phone away and immerse yourself in deep work. Go deep rather than doing many things on the surface. Yeah. Which was for me really life altering. And as addictive as my phone and social media is, I am learning, and I have learned in the last few months to really put it away for at least 4 to 5 hours in the day and just work. Though I can't stay away for longer than 45 minutes to an hour, then I'll go and check and then I'll put it away again.
मैं आपसे बेसिकली मूवी रिकमेंडेशन छोड़ के सारी रिकमेंडेशंस लेना चाहता हूँ बिकॉज मूवी आई नो 75 मूवीज यू रिकमेंडेड वेरी रिसेंटली they're all there yeah so now let's come to music. What kind of music are you into, and something if you would like to recommend?
So my first love is of course Hindi film music. I love Hindi film music. Some contemporary, but a lot of stuff from, let's say, the 90s, much earlier, 50s, 60s. Love all that music. Love, light classical, so like Shobha Gotu or Begum Akhtar. Love ghazals. So I'm into, I don't know Western music at all. Like literally zero. So my kids tell me like, it's so-and-so, I don't know, Taylor Swift dropped an album, I think 10 days ago or something, so that was like big news for my daughter, but I don't know. It just doesn't connect. It doesn't move me in any way. It does nothing for me. It's all Indian Hindi.
Yeah, but it's absolutely fine. In fact, मेरे को भी SRK की films का बहुत music पसंद है, and I'll ask you something which
oh my god oh my god, SRK movies are the best. Or I like go on Spotify and I do R.D. Burman Gulzar combinations and like those kind of things. Lovely, man, lovely.
So there's this question I ask everyone कि better music कौन सी film का है, वीर-ज़ारा और कल हो ना हो?
I would say कल हो ना हो.
Oh,
as sacrilegious as that is, I would say Kal Ho Na Ho.
Oh, nice. Like I had thought you would say Veer-Zaara, but like this is interesting. I could never find the answer to that question. मैं खुद दोनों मतलब both are equivalent for me.
For me, that song Kal Ho Na Ho, the title song, is just one of the most stunning pieces of music, and the lyrics by Javed Saab and the music by SEL is just so it's so resonant, it's so rich that it will work for everybody at any point in their life. It's just lovely.
Honest.
Yeah.
Now going back to Maria Popova, उन्होंने जो 13 points लिखे, there is this another point in it which is very beautiful. You have touched upon it, but I want to go inside it once more. The other point is build pockets of stillness in your life. and pockets of stillness के लिए it can be a walk, it can be like spending time with your dogs. What are those pockets of stillness for you? I get like जैसे Bhutan एक हो गया, but in day-to-day life, what are those things for you?
So this is something I struggle with just because I'm such a type A person that I need to be doing stuff constantly, and I am, and I've recognized that it's not so healthy. So in fact, during the lockdown, I have done an art of living course, and I am now spending at least 20-25 minutes every morning deep breathing and doing that. The other pockets of stillness are really, I love podcasts. So when I'm on the treadmill, I'm listening to people talk, and that for me is just very nice. It takes me away from where I am and into another world, so to speak, Yeah. So I really love that. We do have 6 dogs, so.
Yeah. How nice. So, podcast mein, like, what do you like to listen to? Like, we need podcast recommendations from you also.
So the one I listen to every week is the IndieWire Screen Talk. It's Eric Cohen, who's their chief film critic, and Ann Thompson, who's their sort of reporter at large out of LA. Eric is in New York and Ann Thompson is in LA. I listen to that every week. In the past few weeks, I've been listening a lot to Team Deakins, which is Roger Deakins in conversation with various artists, So he did an amazing one with Denis Villeneuve. He did, there's one I'm listening to now with Joel Cohen. So I listen to that. Sometimes I listen to TED Talks daily if there's something that I feel like a nice topic, because those are short and they you can assess them pretty quickly. I listen to Kermode and Mayo. Mark Kermode and Mayo. Yeah. They do. I think it's just called Kermode and Mayo. So I listen to that. But Screen Talk is the one that I sort of religiously listen to every week.
Now I'll start to wrap things up. अब मेरे बस कुछ last questions रह गए. There's this entrepreneur, Paul Graham. Paul Graham says this one thing, that there's this line called "build a good product and they'll come for you," and he doesn't believe in it. He believes you have to go and get them. So do you also think, क्योंकि बहुत indie films में भी होता है, people think let's make a good film and they'll come and get us. So do you believe making a good product in itself is sufficient, or you have to do the extra work of getting people the eyeballs in any which way possible?
So no, any which way possible has never been what we follow at Film Companion. We've never had marketing budgets, so the growth really over 6 years has been entirely organic, just because we've never had the money to spend on marketing. But I think if you build a good product, I think at least 80% of your work is done, but you do need to spend 20% working on taking it to people, but taking it to people in a way that that speaks to your product, that feels correct for that Absolutely. Product. I can't be doing, like today we posted a cinematographer's conversation. Now I can't somehow plug that in some sort of sensational way and hope more people will watch it. The amount of people who are interested in this conversation will watch it, and hopefully it will garner more views as we go along. I just think that you have to be authentic and true to who you are. I don't know any other way to be.
Now, just अब मेरे पास 3 last fun questions which have nothing to do with like the founder side of things or the entrepreneurship side of things. These are 3 would you rather questions, and would you rather questions, but with an interesting take. So the first is, would you rather have hiccups for the rest of your life or constantly feel like you have to sneeze?
This is not, these are both awful. What is the choice here?
Yeah, you have to choose the less awful one.
I think hiccups maybe, because at least you'd get work done. If you were constantly going, ha, then to kuch bhi nahi
hoga. Yeah, right. Nice. Now the second one. Would you rather know everything about the ocean or the space?
I would rather know everything about space.
And the last one. Would you rather speak and understand all human languages or speak and understand all animal languages?
All human languages. I would love to be able to communicate better.
How nice. So on that note, I think we can wrap things up. And I hope you had a great time, Anupama. Thank you so much for doing this for us.
Not at all. Not at all, Vaibhav. Thank you so much. Thanks for, for inviting me and chatting about my journey on Film Companion.